Okay, welcome to the Planning Commission meeting, June 22nd, 2022, 7 o'clock. For those that are planning to make any public comments, look at the agenda and follow the directions there for public comments. Register on the link there on Zoom. I don't see anybody here, but if anyone does come and they happen to be on Zoom and you want to do a live comment, there's some cards in the back. Fill those out and send them to our recording secretary, Miss Medina. Okay, so calling meeting order. Pledge of Allegiance, Vice Chair Ciodel. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item, roll call. Ms. Medina.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening. I just want to say for the record that Commissioner Mosen will be absent this evening. Moving along, Commissioner Albana.
Present.
Commissioner Owasti.
Present.
Chair Chuan.
Present.
Vice Chair Sierradella.
Present.
Commissioner Galong.
Present.
Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. Next item, conflict of interest declaration, City Attorney.
Thank you, Chair Tuan. I ask Chair and each commissioner whether he or she has any financial or personal conflict of interest related to any of the items on tonight's agenda.
Ms. Medina, you want to go down the roll?
Commissioner Albana.
None.
Commissioner Owasti.
None.
Chair Chuan.
None.
Vice Chair Sierradella.
None.
Commissioner Galong.
None.
Commissioner Medina Ashby.
None.
Thank you.
Let the record reflect no reported conflicts.
Thank you, City Attorney. Next item, approval agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for today?
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Second.
All right. Okay, I got a motion from Vice Chair Ciodella and a second from, did I hear it from Commissioner Albana? Is that you? Okay. Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner Medina Ashby.
I'm sorry, I just went blank.
Oh, there was a, this is for the approval agenda.
Okay, that's
So,
fine.
yeah, so,
Aye.
okay, Commissioner Owasti,
Aye.
Commissioner Galong,
Aye.
Commissioner Albana,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciodella,
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Motion passes. Next item, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of June 8th, 2022?
I propose to approve the minutes of June 8th.
Okay, I got a motion from Commissioner Owasti.
I'll second.
And I got a second from Commissioner Galong. Roll call vote. Commissioner Medina Ashby. Okay, so Commissioner Medina Ashby abstains. Commissioner Owasti.
Aye.
Okay, Commissioner Galong.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
I abstain. I was absent.
Okay, Commissioner Albana abstains. And then Vice Chair Ciodella
Aye.
and Chair Chuan is aye. So you have two abstentions and actually three absences and or two abstentions, one absent, and four yes votes. So minutes are approved. Announcements. Any announcements from any of the planning commissioners? Commissioner, first, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Albana back. So Commissioner Albana, you have an announcement.
Thank you. Yay, thank you. I'm glad to be part of the team again. Thank you guys.
Did you have an announcement or?
I wanted to encourage those who are the viewers and the citizens and each of us to support. There's a virtual, I know it was announced, it was the virtual, it was a workshop of the Milpitas Gateway Main Street. So I want everybody to at least participate, get involved, and also share your ideas. Any amenities or vision you have for the city will be great. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Any other announcements from any of the planning commissioners? Okay, no other announcements, then planning director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a couple of announcements. So as Commissioner noted, there will be a community workshop next Wednesday night on the 23rd of June at 5:30 p.m. And that is for a status update and a discussion about the Gateway Main Street specific plan, which is also an update to the current Midtown plan. So there is information on the city's website. There's also a project website. I believe it's milpitasmainstreet.org. And yeah, but probably the easiest way is to follow the link on the city's website. And there's also been some announcements on the city's social media pages as well as in the Milpitas Post. Also next week, or no, excuse me, tomorrow, just a reminder to everyone that there is a city commissioners appreciation event here at City Hall out on the Veterans Plaza. It will be hot again tomorrow, so dress appropriately and wear a hat if you're like me. And then the last one, I just wanted to let everyone know, recently we were informed that the city of Milpitas, the planning department, will receive awards or recognition from the northern section of the California chapter of the American Planning Association. They're the group that hosts the annual planning conferences. They have recognized the city for its general plan in the category of planning documents. And then also we will receive an award of recognition for the Development Review Handbook and the ADU Toolkit. So we were very pleased to receive those awards. They'll be handed out. They haven't announced it yet, but they usually have a little awards event. And it also made us eligible to compete at the state level, which I was part of the jury that selected the winners last week, but I don't know if I'm able or I'm supposed to announce it, but I'll just hint that one of our nominations was very well received. So we'll be receiving some recognition again later in the fall at the state level. So we really appreciate the hard work of staff and this hard work of this commission on the hand that you've had in all of the work that we've accomplished over the past year, particularly those two that have received recognition from our colleagues. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, planning director. All right, next item is public forum. Those interested are invited to address planning commission on any subject not on tonight's agenda or it'll be a Zoom webinar. Instructions above in the agenda. Speakers may provide their name and city of residence for the recording secretary's record, and comments may be limited to 3 minutes or less. As an item not listed on the agenda, no response is required from city staff or the planning commission, and no action can be taken. Planning commission may instruct the staff to place the item on a future meeting agenda. Ms. Medina, I don't see anyone here. So do we have anyone on Zoom?
Chair, we have no community members in the queue in Zoom for a public forum. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Medina. Next item is public hearing. So first item, zoning text amendment, outdoor music. Planning director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have our Associate Planner Avery Stark here to present the staff report. He's joining us remotely tonight. This is an item that we've been working on with both Avery and also joining us is our consultant, Holly Pearson, who has been helping with past couple of years on a variety of zoning ordinance amendments. And this text amendment will modify, as noted in your staff report, will modify and add regulations to the city's zoning ordinance related to outdoor music. It was a request from the council, and as I mentioned, Avery will have the details on that. Oh, and we're also joined by our senior planner, Lillian Van Hoa, who has been helping with prepare this ordinance amendment as well. So I'll turn the time over to Avery.
Thank you, Planning Director. Welcome, Mr. Stark.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Thomas. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, Commissioners, and fellow staff. So the purpose of the proposed ordinance is to allow outdoor music as an accessory use to restaurants and bars in most commercial and mixed-use zones throughout the city. In addition, the ordinance includes various minor revisions to the special event and activity section of the zoning ordinance related to amplified music and other amplified sound, as well as types of special events and review and permitting process requirements for each of those. Next. As mentioned, the item before you is a city-initiated zoning text amendment to modify and add regulations relating to outdoor music as an accessory use to restaurants and bars in the C1, C2, TC, MXD, MXD2, and MXD3 zones. The amendments also propose to modify portions of our noise abatement ordinance related to outdoor music in bars and restaurants specified in those zoning districts listed above, and also to modify portions of our special event ordinance section of the zoning code to create a new category of minor events to expand the type and scale of the events that are exempt from special event permit requirements. Next. The City Council directed staff to streamline and simplify the rules and procedures for hosting live and recorded music at restaurants and bars citywide. The ordinance will be allowing the businesses to offer music for the entertainment of customers and patrons on patios and decks and other outdoor spaces without the need for permits from the planning department. There you go, lost my train of thought there from the planning department, and will not only help to support restaurants and bars, but will also support our local musicians in Milpitas. In addition, it will help promote an atmosphere of culture and throughout the city of Milpitas. Next, please. The proposed ordinance includes amendments to the following sections of the zoning ordinance listed on your screen there. As you can see, it is a number of sections primarily within the zoning chapter 10 of the municipal code and some within the noise abatement ordinance, chapter 213. Next. So just to briefly touch on the additional addition of outdoor music, which wasn't previously defined in our municipal code, would be to add the general definition section of our zoning ordinance. The definition would encompass both acoustic and amplified music, including individual musicians, bands, and disc jockeys, DJs, performing in outdoor spaces such as patios or decks. It would also refer to recorded background music played by outdoors by businesses such as restaurants, bars, cafes, and retail stores. Next. At present, live entertainment and dancing at restaurants is not permitted at the administrative and professional office CO zone or the neighborhood commercial C1 zone, and are conditionally permitted in the general C2, HS, TC, and all mixed-use zones throughout the city. The current requirements for a restaurant to obtain a conditional use permit, or a CUP, in order to host live music is expensive and time-consuming. The city recognized the value of facilitating the process for restaurants to offer live music in terms of quality of life and access to entertainment for the Milpitas community. And to this end, planning staff at the direction of council proposed an amendment to the zoning regulations for music as an accessory use to restaurants and bars so that both indoor and outdoor music, whether live or recorded, would be permitted without further review from the city staff. Next. Here we have some special development standards that will be outlined in the section of the zoning ordinance for the commercial and mixed use zones, which would amend to add standards that apply specifically to outdoor music at restaurants and bars. Outdoor music would be permitted between 9 a.m. and 11 p.m., and a noise level limit of 70 to 90 decibels would be established. Larger outdoor music events that are open to the general public, as opposed to music events offered through customers at a single establishment, would continue to require a special event permit. Next. Per the proposed regulations, other forms of live entertainment at restaurants, stand-up comedy, theatrical shows, karaoke, as well as social dancing would continue to follow existing regulations and permitting requirements. Other live entertainment and dancing at bars, nightclubs would continue to be subject to review through the CUP process that is required for all such uses citywide. Next. Here just to talk about the additional definition of amplified sound. The proposed amendment includes a revised, more specific definition for amplified sound. The new language would define this term as the use of any loudspeaker, public address system, amplifier, or any other device which electronically or mechanically increases the volume of the human voice, music, and any other sound. Amplified sound is typically an issue associated with large gatherings that requires approval of a special event permits by the city. Next. So in addition, while we were taking a look at our sound ordinance, we also took the opportunity to update some regulations for outdoor music and amplified sound within our special events section of the also proposing an amendment to clarify requirements for permit types for different sizes of special events. The current zoning regulations for special events define two types of events, major and minor, with different review procedures and permit fees for each. Under the current regulations, any event in a park or other public place with fewer than 1,000 participants were required to apply for a minor site development permit, which had a fee of $945. This is a large amount for recent small events that have been hosted in our city. So in response to direction from City Council, planning staff proposed to create a new category for smaller special events. Under the proposed zoning amendments, the new category would be called minor events, and the existing minor events category would be renamed regular events. This new classification for minor events would apply to single day events with fewer than 250 participants and no street closures. Regular events that would apply to events of 4 consecutive days between 250 and 1,000 people can fall into that regular event, the middle section we've created now. And there would be no change to the major event, which applies to multi-day events with more than 1,000 people. And just for some context, the permit fee for minor events for the updated master fee schedule that was just approved by council last week will be $253. And the permit for a regular event will become $986. And the permit fee for a major event will be $6,157. Next. The introduction and adoption of this ordinance is not subject to review under the California Environmental Quality Act pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15061B3, also known as the Common Sense Exemption. And as a separate and independent basis, the project is exempt pursuant to CEQA Guidelines Section 15183. The project is consistent with the general plan, community plan, or zoning as outlined and described in the staff report attached. Next. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission open and close the public hearing, consider the exemption for the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, and adopt resolution number 22-007, recommending that the City Council approve zoning text amendment ZA 22-003, amending sections of Title Chapter 10 zoning and Chapter 5, Chapter 213 noise abatement of the Milpitas Municipal Code to modify and add regulations relating to outdoor music as an accessory use in certain commercial and mixed-use zones, and to modify and add regulations to relating to special events. This concludes staff's presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have, as well as the planning director, Holly Pearson, who is our consultant that helped support in the preparation of this ordinance, and Lillian Van Wa, our senior planner as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stark. Do you have any comments from Ms. Pearson, or are you just there to answer questions, or?
Not at this time, but thank you. Just here to answer questions if you have them.
Okay, thank you. Planning Director, do you have any other comments or anything?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. We look forward to your questions if you have any.
All right, thank you. At this time, do any of the planning commissioners have any questions? Okay, if there's no questions, I do have one I have one question and then one comment. Just in our packet that we have here on page, this is the zoning, planning, and the chapter 10, and then under section 5. I don't know, there's just a typo on it. It's a very minor thing, but under number 2, recorded background, it says music, and it said pay. I'm assuming that's may be permitted. So that's my one comment there. And then just a question in terms of noise levels. So maximum range of 70 to 90 decibels. What is that equivalent to in terms of, something that's common, like we will say like there's an airplane or something like that, or so what's the decibel level equivalent to?
Holly, do you mind taking that question just for the details of it?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Good evening, Commissioners. Holly Pearson, consultant. I did a little research as we were working on this ordinance on what were typical sound levels for live music. We settled on the range of 70 to 90 decibels. 70 to 90 is the typical range for a classical music concert. And then rock concerts in outdoor venues kind of start at 90 and go upwards to 110 or so. So 70 to 90 is what we consider to be a kind of a reasonable, moderate level of outdoor noise for outdoor music. And I can pull up, if you'll give me a moment, there's a link in the staff report, but there's examples of other typical noises, especially noises that are considered disturbing or exceptionally loud for comparison. Let me see if I can get to that one moment. Okay. Let's see. So, let's see, a vacuum cleaner, typically 75 decibels, a busy street, 80 decibels, a busy restaurant, 80 to 90, lawnmower, 90, subway train, 90. So that gives you sort of an idea.
All right, thank you. That answered my question. Any other questions from the planning commissioners? Okay. Planning director, you have a comment?
This is a little repetitive, but I'll just emphasize something that Mr. Stark provided at the beginning of the presentation. The intent here is to, as expressed by the council, is to create a more vibrant environment. I know they had in particular in mind along Main Street. And you'll note, the thing I wanted to note is that the amendment is written in such a way that it allows the music in conjunction as an accessory to an existing or future bar or restaurant. And so the effect here is that it sort of streamlines the process for that. As Avery also, or as Mr. Stark also noted, the changes streamline that by removing the requirement for a separate conditional use permit for the music. If a conditional use permit would still be required for the restaurant itself. So if it was a new proposal, then it would just be required as part of that, but we wouldn't have to make separate findings and have separate analysis for the outdoor music itself. So in that way, it makes the city more friendly, if you will, to outdoor music in conjunction with those types of uses.
All right, thank you, planning director. If there's no Commissioner Glong, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question about did the guests require a permit, let's say holding an event in a restaurant, which one is permitted and which one is not? Do they require the guests prepare for the permit in the city for that event, let's say outside the restaurant?
If the event that was being proposed was, say, larger than, or a larger gathering than allowed within, like, say, a parking lot, if they were going to expand, maybe they have a patio, that's where it'd be allowed by accessory use, where there wouldn't be a permit necessary, so they could have a band or a musical guest play, like in this picture depicts, on a patio scene. That would not require a permit. What would possibly require a special event permit is if it was to grow in size and scale where they're going to go above possibly 90 decibels, maybe for more than 250 persons, and if it was maybe to be for a number of consecutive days. But generally speaking, like a cafe jazz show in a coffee shop or outside a coffee shop would fall under the accessory use in this instance and wouldn't require another type of permit or an amendment to their existing permit.
What is the standard noise level, let's say in the restaurant? What's the standard noise level?
So the zoning ordinance doesn't regulate the noise level inside the restaurant, but for the instance of where they're playing music inside a restaurant, this is where our zoning ordinance now stipulates the 70 to 90 decibels.
On these special events, new permits type and review threshold under regular event. So you can have an event in residential streets that require permit.
To close a public street, it would require a special event permit, yes.
And also if you want to put a stage, temporary stage, you still require a permit as well?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Long. Commissioner Wasti, you have a question?
Thank you, Chair. The 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., is it 7 days a week or on weekends? So how did we get to 9 to 11? And does it also apply to banquet halls and all other places where people gather and they have parties or they have functions or weddings and they go on till late at night, sometimes till midnight? So is this something different from what, are they governed by some different rules, or it applies 11 o'clock, it's Milpitas stops with the music for everyone?
Certainly, I can answer those questions. So for the time between 9 a.m. and 11 p.m., that would be Monday through Sunday. The 11 p.m. time frame for this particular outdoor music standard was actually at the request of the mayor to go from what staff had previously recommended, which was 10. And the applicability of this to, say, a existing conditionally permitted event center, say in the city, it wouldn't necessarily apply because that particular project may have conditions that would allow it to operate until midnight or until 1 or 2 a.m., depending on the project, in which case music may go on into those hours as it was studied and the analysis was done at the time for that project. This is particular and specific to restaurants, existing or new restaurants and bars within the city, event centers where you are hosting like quinceañeras or parties and weddings aren't a part of the same use category in our zoning code. So they would still follow the discretionary use permit process of a CUP that would eventually come back to the Planning Commission for review if a new one was to apply.
Just to clarify, I know this was also mentioned in the presentation, but this is for outdoor music only, as well as outdoor sound, outdoor music, rather than inside a building. So if you're having an event inside the building, we don't regulate that, as you mentioned.
All right, thank you. This is excellent. A lot of work done on this. This is really going to help the city. It's very well done. I'm very happy with this. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Wasti. Okay, any other questions from any commissioners? Okay, if there's no other questions, I'd like to open up the public forum. Since this is a public hearing item, I'd like to open up the public forum. Ms. Medina, do we have anyone in the queue?
Chair, there are no public members. There's no members of the community in the queue for this item.
Okay, if there are no public, no in the queue, can I get a motion to close the public hearing, a public forum?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, Commissioner Awasi makes the motion to close the public hearing or public forum. Do I have a second?
I second.
And then got a second from Commissioner Medina Ashby. So I'm gonna do roll call vote. Commissioner Medina Ashby,
Aye.
Commissioner Awasti,
Aye.
Commissioner Galang,
Aye, Chair.
Commissioner Albana,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella.
Aye.
Okay, Chair Chuan is aye. So public hearing is closed, 6-0. Okay. Any final comments or any final questions from any of the commissioners? I see Commissioner Wasti and Commissioner Medina Ashby have their lights on. Okay, if there are none, then
Everything is very well done. Thank you.
all right, thank you. Okay, if there are no further questions, can I get a motion? Yeah, are there any motions? Commissioner Galang.
Yeah, Chair. I think you mentioned about the karaoke. Is that a part? Is that part of this outdoor thing? Karaoke to say if you want to have hold a party outside your meaning in your backyard, and you have a big backyard and karaoke, they require a permit for that.
I'll have Mr. Stark. You want to answer that?
Generally speaking, a small gathering in your backyard, hosted by, for friends and family to gather and eat, is a permitted use. You don't require a permit. The threshold, again, possibly for requiring a permit for a small backyard party is when it, again, maybe moves into public right-of-way on a street, where you may begin installing certain apparatuses larger than certain square footages for things like tents, or where the elements of that event include things like pyrotechnics or live animals or other things that are outlined in the zoning ordinance that would require a special event permit and review by the city. But generally speaking, a birthday party in a backyard with music playing and friends and family gathering would not require a special event permit.
Thank you, Commissioner Klong. Okay, any other questions or any other comments? If there are no questions or comments, do I have any motions?
Chair, I'd like to move for the approval.
Okay, Commissioner Bonnet, go ahead. It's on the screen if you want to read that.
I move that we adopt resolution 22-007, recommending that the city council approve zoning text amendment ZA 22-0003, amending sections of the Milpitas Municipal Code, Title 11, Chapter 10, Zoning, and Title 5, Chapter 201(3), Noise Abatement, to modify and add regulations relating to outdoor music as an accessory use in certain commercial and mixed-use zones, and to modify and add regulations relating to special events.
Yeah, and I had one correction on there, so if you want to just say adding the correction to what I had stated on there as well. There was one section on there.
Which one there?
It was on section 5, number 2, page 8 of 25 packet.
Which
City
one?
Attorney, is that necessary? That she needs to state that since there's one minor correction.
I believe staff has taken the correction under consideration and will fix it pursuant to the motion.
Okay, all right. That's fine. Okay, then, all right. So we have a motion from Commissioner Albana. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, got a second from Commissioner Glong. Roll call vote. Commissioner Medina Ashby,
Aye.
Commissioner Wasti,
Aye.
Commissioner Glong,
Aye.
Commissioner Albana,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella,
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Okay, the motion passes and the zoning text amendment has been adopted. Okay, congratulations. Thank you. All right, next item is time extension for Amazon Distribution Center. Planning Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just note that last item was a recommendation to the council, and that item is now scheduled to go to the council for final adoption on August 9th. And at that same night, the council will also hear the zoning text amendment from last planning commission meeting on building heights. So they'll both go together to the council. So our next item is also a time, the next item is a time extension for a proposed Amazon distribution center is located at, or would be located at 1000 Gibraltar Drive. It's located just south of City Hall on South Milpitas Boulevard, but it's addressed off of Gibraltar Drive. The zoning ordinance allows for an 18-month time extension for planning entitlements if needed, and the property owner has applied for that time extension. We have our senior planner, Michael Fasati, here to present the staff report.
Thank you, Planning Director. Welcome, Mr. Fasati.
Thank you, Chair Chuan. Good. Thank you, Director Thomas. And good evening to the commissioners and fellow staff and residents out there in the community. My name is Michael Fasati. I'm senior planner here with the City of Milpitas. And as mentioned, the item before you is a request for a time extension at 1000 Gibraltar Drive. The extension of time would be for the site development permit and tree removal permit. And if we can go to my slide in a moment, I will tell you all about it. There it is. Can I get that next slide, please? Thank you. Thank you. So in March 2021, a CTC property obtained approval to remove an existing office campus with and remove approximately 88 protected trees and replace that with the new 491,040 square foot distribution center that will include 215 new trees, approximately 346 new surface parking spaces, 101 surface trailer spaces, and all new on-site improvements. This to be located at 1000 Gibraltar Drive. Director Thomas stated it very well. The property is also has another address as 1001 South Milpitas Boulevard. That project was approved, and once it was entitled, the property was sold to Amazon.com LLC, who has now applied for the 18-month time extension. As a matter of fact, Stephen Maduli Williams is in the audience to represent Amazon.com. Next slide, please. This is the satellite image of the project location. It's located south of City Hall, as well as east of South Milpitas Boulevard and west of Gibraltar Drive. Next slide, please. This map demonstrates the project site's zoning designation. This gray that you see literally all over the map is says that it's industrial zoning areas. Therefore, the use is appropriate because it's surrounded by heavy industrial uses. That little piece of red you see on the far left and west of the site is a portion of the Great Mall. Next slide, please. This is the site plan of the project. It's demonstrating the main floor. It is an industrial building, and that's mainly the bulk of the building is for warehousing and distribution spaces with approximately 4,900 square feet of small office space. Next slide, please. These are renderings of the proposed buildings. This is an image from South Milpitas Boulevard. The project is highlighted by a substantial amount of large screening shrubs and numerous trees surrounding the site. Next slide, please. A notice was published in the Milpitas Post and at City Hall. We have not received any comments to date. Next slide, please. And per Milpitas Municipal Code section 11-10-64.07, an extension of the approval of the project may be granted if the current findings for that specific type of permit can be made by the decision-making authority, that being the Planning Commission. Since this project remains unchanged at this time, we believe the project findings associated with the site development permit and tree removal permit as set out in the Milpitas Municipal Code are still being met. Those findings have been addressed in the staff report and discussed within the resolution. Next slide, please. In accordance with CEQA, the city prepared an environmental impact report pursuant to public resource codes and CEQA guideline requirements. The specific sections are addressed above. The Milpitas Planning Commission certified the EIR on March 24th, 2021, the same date they approved the project. Per CEQA guideline section 15162, additional environmental analysis is not required because no changes have been proposed and no new information has been introduced warranting additional analysis. As such, the time extension is exempt from CEQA. Next slide, please. So staff recommends the Planning Commission open and close the public hearing and adopt resolution 22-008, approving the time extension for the site development permit and tree removal permit for 1000 Gibraltar Drive. This concludes staff's summary of the project. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And if you do have questions for the applicant, Stephen Meduli Williams is also in the audience. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Fasadi. Does the applicant have any presentations as well, or just to answer any questions?
It's my understanding, Chair Chuan, that he doesn't have a presentation. Just here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fasadi. At this time, does any of the planning commissioners have any questions? Okay. No questions. Okay. How about, and I also see that we have Mr. Alex Andrade on as well too. Just wondering, does Mr. Andrade, do you have any comments as well, or?
Good evening, Chair and Planning Commission. Alex Andrade, Director of Economic Development. Thank you so much. I just am here in support of the extension. Amazon has been a partner of ours, and as you know quite well, they have a few facilities. They have 3 facilities at McCarthy Creekside, which total somewhere around 340,000 square feet, as well as on 05 North McCarthy Boulevard through the bridge development, where they're upwards of 350,000 square feet. So clearly they have invested in Milpitas, and I'm just here in support of the planning department as well as Amazon. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Andrade. Do any of the planning commissioners have any questions for planning staff or Mr. Andrade? Commissioner Albana.
Chair, yes. I understand that they had basically applied for this in sometime in March 2021. However, because I believe that they're doing more extensive research, they would really need more time. So I'm in support of this just for the extension so that it could be planned better for the city and for themselves. Yes, so that's all, Chair. I see that the extension is really needed because is it due for expiring? Mr. Sari?
Yes, it will expire in the next few months.
I see. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Albana. Any other questions from any of the commissioners? Okay, if there's no questions, I'd like to open up the public hearing. Ms. Medina, do we have anyone in the queue for any public comment?
Chair, there are no community members in the queue for this item.
Thank you, Ms. Medina. Since there are none, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
I can make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Awasti. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from Commissioner Awasti and a second from Commissioner Galong. I'm going to do the roll call vote. Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Aye.
Commissioner Awasti.
Aye.
Commissioner Galong.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciudadela.
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Public hearing is now closed. Okay, any other further questions from any planning commissioners or any final comments or deliberations from the planning commission? I see Commissioner Medina Ashby, you have your light on. Okay. Okay. All right. If there are, okay, Commissioner Wasti, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, yeah, I'm all in favor of granting the extension as Mr. Alex Andrade and everybody, we are all in favor. They're bringing us so much business to the city. We should be going all out to help them. Just a comment I would like to make for the record. Thanks. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Wasti. Any other comments or any? Okay, if there are no comments, do I have any motions? I see Commissioner Gallant, you have your light on.
Yes, sir. Make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 22-008, extending site development permit number ST 19-0008 and tree removal permit number TR 19-0007 for 18 months until March 24, 2024.
Okay, so I just want to note he read it from the agenda there. So we have a motion and we have a second.
Second.
And got a second from Vice Chair Ciodella. Roll call vote. Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Aye.
Commissioner Wasti.
Aye.
Commissioner Galong.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciodella.
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Motion passes. The resolution's been adopted. So congratulations, times extension. All right. Next item is the final item. It's the time extension for food truck. Planning Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, this item is another time extension. In this case, it's for we refer to it as a mobile food service area, a food truck park. So it's an area where multiple food trucks can locate. And then there are facilities there for customers to the food truck park. Some of you who have been on the commission a while maybe remember this project came through in 2020. It included a site development permit and a conditional use permit. And in the same case there, my understanding is they're working toward getting the building permits that they need for the facilities that are proposed. And they just need a little more time in order to get through the building permit process. So again, we have our Associate Planner Avery Stark here to provide the staff report.
Thank you, Planning Director. Welcome again, Mr. Stark.
Thank you. Thank you again, Director Thomas. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. As mentioned, the item before you is a request for time extension for 25 South Abbott. The extension of time would be for, as Director Thomas noted, the site development permit and the conditional use permit entitlements. Next. On May 27th of 2020, the Planning Commission approved the site development permit and conditional use permit to allow the development of the vacant lot into a mobile food service area or food truck park, including a new parking lot, module food sales prep containers, landscaping upgrades, new fencing, lights, utilities, and other site improvements and upgrades as depicted in the 3D rendering on your screen. Next. There we go. Here's just a satellite view of the property to date. It is located north of Calaveras Boulevard, 237, east of the northbound on-ramp onto Interstate 880, and west along South Abbott Avenue. Next. This map above demonstrates the project's zoning designation. The project site is located within the neighborhood commercial C1 zoning district within the Milpitas Midtown specific plan. And as analyzed in the staff report, conforms to all necessary zoning requirements in terms of setbacks, parking standards, and things of that nature. Thank you. There we go. This is the site plan for reference again of the proposed development. The project is a module food service area, includes 3 permanent module containers for vendors for food preparation of sales of food on site, and 3 rentable parking space areas located there by the little blue trucks for food truck vendors who will rotate into and out of the parking spaces daily. Next. A notice was published in the Milpitas Post and at City Hall. To date, staff has not received any comments via phone or email. Next. And per the Milpitas Municipal Code, an extension of approval of a project may be granted if the current findings for the specific type of permit are made in the decision-making body authority. And since the project remains unchanged at this time, we believe that the project findings associated with the site development permit and conditional use permit as set out in the Milpitas Municipal Code are still being met. And those findings have been discussed in the staff report and are addressed in the resolution for this time extension. Next. Go. Since the project remains unchanged at this time, the CEQA findings also remain the same as stand. Thank you. Next. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission open and close the public hearing and adopt resolution 22-009, approving a time extension number TE 22-002 for site development permit number SD 20-005 and conditional use permit number UP 18008 at 25 South Abbott. Next. And this concludes staff summary of the project. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. Furthermore, we do have Varun, the project owner, and his architect, Joseph, to answer any questions you may have if they arise. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stark. Does Mr. Is it Garini? Does he have any presentations or any comments he'd like to make?
To my knowledge, there's no presentation at this time, but he himself and Joseph, the architect, are available for any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Ms. Stark. Do any planning commissioners have any questions for planning staff or the applicant and the architect? Okay, Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Yes, I wanted to know how many food trucks the park will be able to accommodate.
3 food trucks.
3?
As in, correct.
And will they be set food trucks that the city, I get what, of 3 certain food trucks, or is there going to be a rotation of food trucks?
They're allowed for their conditional use permit to be a rotating set of food trucks. They will still be required to obtain a city business license to operate within the city and a county food license to prepare and provide food service to the general public. But the intention of the project was that it would allow the site to kind of host different themed nights depending on the cuisine of interest. And then that way, different food trucks could be on site at different periods of time. So they would not be fixed to the site, they would be mobile.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commissioner Medina Ashby. Commissioner Galong?
Yeah, well, this is the first time I heard about mobile food service. Do we have any other this type of business in here in Milpitas?
No, we do not. This is going to be the first, and we're very excited to have them here at the city. I've been working with them for a few years now, getting this project to come to life. So we're in the building permit plan checking phase, and a time extension was required as a result of the pandemic and needing more time for the applicant. So this will be the first food truck park in the city of Milpitas.
What are their menu? Is there a certain type of menu every day, or?
No, so that's kind of the beauty of the project is that the 3 rotating food vendors would provide different food varieties of cuisine depending on the day. It is possible that the 3 fixed containers may be food vendors that are there for longer periods of time, as they would be more like permanent restaurant kind of tenants on the site. So you may see some in those containers to the left-hand side of your screen there that would be permanent, and then those food trucks would rotate. But it's also possible that a restaurant or a pop-up may occur in the food container and then may leave and a new vendor may come in to provide food service, as there'll be independent units on site.
So you mentioned earlier that you're going to prepare their food from scratch on that facility, correct?
Correct.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Gulan. Any other questions from the commissioners? Commissioner Wasti?
Yes, you mentioned that this is a very exciting project. It's going to bring in a lot of revenue, and the concept looks very, very good. You mentioned that they are going to have a kitchenette site. Is it the kitchen they are going to prepare? Is it going to be besides the food truck? Are they going to have their kitchen for takeouts, and the food trucks will be doing their own business, and the kitchen will be doing their own business?
That is correct. So the food trucks would operate separately, each one as a different food truck. And then within those 3 containers, there's the possibility of 3 different independent, smaller food pop-up type designs to be established. So they would each have their own kitchens within the containers, similarly probably designed to a food truck in that more confined space, but also allows for a lower capital investment for a new restaurant to be able to share their cuisine.
So basically, as I can help me out, so there will be 6 type of cuisines or 6 kitchens operating at one point of time
Possibly.
in that facility.
Yes, on some nights there may not be any food trucks, for example, and they may just be within the containers. Other nights there might be 1, 2, or 3 food trucks. The use permit allows for a rotation of all 3 or all three food trucks and the 3 containers. So again, it was to help facilitate possible themes throughout the week or on the weekend, and to be available during the lunch hour. So if you and your coworkers want to go and visit it, and you have different food preferences, you have the ability to select from a variety of foods.
Sounds very good. Looks like an open food court to me.
Exactly. Yes.
Very exciting. Looking forward for them to open. Thank you. That was my question. Thank you, Chair.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Wasti. Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay. If not, I also see that Mr. Alex Andrade is also on. Mr. Andrade, do you have any comments?
Not at this point, but we too are very excited and applaud what the planning department is trying to do here for economic vitality. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Andrade. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Andrade? Okay, if not, then I'd like to open up the public hearing. Ms. Medina, do we have anyone in the queue for any public comment?
No, Chair.
All right, thank you, Ms. Medina. Since there's no one on there, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, I got a motion from Commissioner Medina Ashby. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I got a second from Commissioner Albana. Roll call vote. Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Aye.
Commissioner Wasti.
Aye.
Commissioner Galong.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella.
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Public hearing is now closed. Okay, any other final comments from any of the commissioners or any final questions? Or motions? Okay, Commissioner Albana?
Yes, Chair. I like this because it contributes to the whole vision that we have for the Milpitas Gateway Main Street. It's part of it, right, Director? Yes. And this will be the first in Milpitas. So giving an extension will give them enough time to prepare better. So that's all, Chair. I'm so happy and I support it.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Albana. Any other comments or motions or any other questions from any of the commissioners? Any motions? Vice Chair Ciardella.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the time extension. Adopt resolution number 12009, extending site development permit number SD 20-005 and conditional use permit 180009 for 18 months until December 22nd, 2023.
Okay, got a motion from Vice Chair Ciardella. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I got a second from Commissioner Albano. So roll call vote. Commissioner Medina Ashby,
Aye.
Commissioner Awasti,
Aye.
Commissioner Galan,
Aye.
Commissioner Albano,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella.
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you. Time's been, motion, resolution's been adopted. Okay. Next item, new business. There's no items on there unless Planning Director, you have anything on there? Okay. If there's none, then legalese. Any person aggrieved by any final decision of any board, commission, or department head to the city of Milpitas may appeal the decision to the city council by filing written notice of the appeal with the city clerk within 12 calendar days of the date of said decision and paying the required fee. This time limit shall be strictly enforced. Next item, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, Commissioner Wasti makes the motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
Aye. Yes, second.
Okay, Commissioner Albana has a second. Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner Medina Ashby,
Aye.
Commissioner Wasti,
Aye.
Commissioner Galan, Commissioner Albana,
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella,
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Oh, I know, I saw that you